Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in. Steven here with Team Euphoric, and this is day 11 of the 80 Days to Your Dream Body course. Today's protein source is going to be chicken drumsticks, and today is a back training workout. And right now, I'm going to be taking you through the strength training anatomy and explaining which muscles are involved during each of the back training exercises. Now, let's get started. And now it is time for the main portion of the resistance training workout. And we're going to do the first exercise. For the first exercise, we are going to pick some type of pulling exercise that is going to focus on shoulder extension. So pulling with the elbows tucked in. Since for the last back workout, I did a downward vertical pull, this time I'm going to do a horizontal pull, and I'm going to be doing a seated cable row with a narrow parallel grip attachment. Now, let's get into the strength training anatomy and explain which muscles are going to be involved. Because we are doing a pulling exercise in the horizontal plane, the first thing that we want to do is initiate the movement by doing scapular retraction and depression. So let's take a look at what's happening at the scapulocoastal joint. At the scapulocoastal joint, for scapular retraction, that's primarily going to be the rhomboids major and minor, as well as the middle fibers of the trapezius. We're also going to be getting some involvement from the superior and inferior fibers of the trapezius, but the middle fibers is really where most of the magic is happening. Then, at the scapular depression, that is primarily going to be the inferior fibers of the trapezius, the latissimus dorsi, the pectoralis minor, and the inferior fibers of the serratus anterior. Moving distally from there to the glenohumeral joint. At the glenohumeral joint, we are doing shoulder extension. Because we are doing extension, that is primarily going to be the latissimus dorsi muscle, the teres major, the posterior deltoid, and we are also going to be getting the long head of the triceps brachii because the long head does cross the shoulder and it is responsible for extension. Then moving distally from there, let's take a look at what's happening at the elbow. At the elbow, we are doing elbow flexion. So because we're doing elbow flexion, that is primarily going to be the biceps brachii group, both the long and short head. We're also going to be training the brachioradialis, the brachialis, and to a lesser extent, the pronator teres because it does assist in elbow flexion. With regard to the biceps exercise for the pulling portion for this exercise, primarily of the elbow flexors, we are going to be recruiting the brachioradialis the most because we are in a neutral position. But our rest period is up. Let's get on with the set number one. In 3, 2, 1, 1. Hold, 1, 2, hold, hold, 2, hold, 1, 2, hold, hold, 3, hold, 1, 2, hold, hold, 4, hold, 1, 2, hold, hold, 5, hold, 1, 2, hold, hold, 6, hold, 1, 2, hold, hold, 7, hold, 1, 2, hold, hold, 8, hold, 1, 2, hold, 9, hold, 1, 2, hold, last one, hold, 1, 2, hold, and rest. And while we are resting, it is time to get on to the second exercise. For the second exercise, we want to pick something that is going to focus on adduction in the coronal plane at the glenohumeral joint. For myself, I'm going to be doing a lat pull down, and it is going to be with a wide pronated grip. Now let's get into the strength training anatomy and explain which muscles are going to be involved for the lat pull down. With regard to the scapula, the first thing we want to do is take a look at what's going on at the scapulocoastal joint. We want to initiate by retracting the scapula and depressing the scapula. So that means we're going to be doing scapular retraction, which is primarily going to be the rhomboids major and minor, the middle fibers of the trapezius, and to some extent also the superior and inferior fibers of the trapezius as well, but not quite as much as the middle fibers. Then for scapular depression, that is primarily going to be the inferior fibers of the trapezius, the latissimus dorsi, the pectoralis minor, and the inferior fibers of the serratus anterior. Then moving distally onto the glenohumeral joint. At the glenohumeral joint, we are doing adduction in the coronal plane. So we're pulling down with the elbows tucked out. That means that we are primarily going to be using the latissimus dorsi muscle, the sternal attachment of the pectoralis major muscle, the teres major, the coracobrachialis. The infraspinatus is going to be used to some lesser extent, and we will be getting some involvement of the supraspinatus below 30 degrees. If you are only pulling to somewhere between 90 and 45 degrees, then you're not going to be getting the supraspinatus at all, because the supraspinatus is only responsible for coronal adduction in that final 30 degrees. So if you're really getting deep and pulling all the way down, you are going to get some recruitment of the supraspinatus. And then moving distally from there to the elbow, we are going to be doing elbow flexion. Because we're doing elbow flexion, that's primarily going to be the biceps brachii, both the long and short head, the brachioradialis, the brachialis, and to a lesser extent, the pronator teres. With regard to the elbow flexion, the primary elbow flexor is going to be the brachioradialis because we are in a neutral position. Even though it is called a pronated grip, if we were to take our arms out like this, you could see that it is actually a neutral position. So the brachioradialis is going to be the main elbow flexor for the wide pronated grip lat pull down. But time is up. Set number 1. In 3, 2, 1, 1. Hold, 1, 2, hold, hold, 2. Hold, 1, 2, hold, hold, 3. Hold, 1, 2, hold, hold, 4. Hold, 1, 2, hold, hold, 5. Hold, 1, 2, hold, hold, 6. Hold, 1, 2, hold, hold, 7. Hold, 1, 2, hold, hold, 8. Hold, 1, 2, hold, hold, 9. Hold, 1, 2, hold, hold. Last one. Hold, 1, 2, hold, hold, and rest. And while we were resting, let's talk about the third exercise. For the third exercise, we want to pick an exercise that is going to focus on horizontal abduction at the glenohumeral joint, abduction. For myself, I'm going to be doing the wide pronated grip row. Now, let's talk about the strength training anatomy and explain which muscles are going to be involved for this exercise. Whenever we are doing any type of horizontal abduction work, we want to make sure that we retract and depress the scapula. So at the scapulocoastal joint, for scapular retraction, that's primarily going to be the rhomboids major and minor and the middle fibers of the trapezius. And we are also going to be getting some involvement from the superior and inferior fibers of the trapezius as well. Then for scapular depression, that is primarily going to be the inferior fibers of the trapezius, the latissimus dorsi, the pectoralis minor, and the inferior fibers of the serratus anterior. Moving distally from there to the glenohumeral joint, at the glenohumeral joint, we are doing horizontal abduction, abduction. So that's primarily going to be the posterior deltoid, the infraspinatus, and the teres minor. And then moving distally from there to the elbow, at the elbow, once again, we are doing elbow flexion. Because we are doing elbow flexion, that is primarily going to be the biceps brachii, both the long and short head, the brachioradialis, the brachialis, and to some extent the pronator teres. But that's going to be a weak elbow flexor. With regard to the elbow flexors, the main elbow flexor that's going to be involved is the brachioradialis, because once again, even though it's called a pronated grip, we are actually in a neutral position if we were to go into an anatomical position. But that is the exercise. Those are the muscles that are being trained. And right now, it is time for set number 1. In 3, 2, 1, 1. Hold, 1, 2, hold, hold, 2. Hold, 1, 2, hold, hold, 3. Hold, 1, 2, hold, hold, 4. Hold, 1, 2, hold, hold, 5. Hold, 1, 2, hold, hold, 6. Hold, 1, 2, hold, hold, 7. Hold, 1, 2, hold, hold, 8. Hold, 1, 2, hold, hold, 9. Hold, 1, 2, hold, hold. Last one. Hold, 1, 2, hold, hold, and rest. Thanks for sticking around until the end of the video. Be sure to like, share, and leave a comment as it'll help the algorithm. And if you enjoyed the content, show your support by subscribing to the channel by clicking on the icon in the bottom right corner. And if you really want to show your support, then consider becoming a member by clicking on the icon in the bottom left corner. These new high-quality videos aren't cheap to edit, and the $5 membership will really help with the video editing budget. You'll also get access to a ton of exclusive perks like early access to videos and this program design lecture playlist in the top right-hand corner. And if you want to learn how to do a one-armed pull-up, then check out the playlist on the top left corner.